I am both bitterly sad and simultaneously terribly happy that de Sade was unable to finish his masterpiece. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Canine Cannibalism. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the 120 Days of Sodom. I actually have two copies of this book, this one and this one. This is the first one that I bought and read part of years ago. I never finished it. It's boring as fuck. We'll get into that later, but I never finished it. And then as I was making this video, I realized there is a much better translation, a Penguin Classic, and this is the one that I bought, read, and am reviewing to you now. This copy of the book, this one can go away, is 417 pages broken up into a foreword, an introduction, four parts, and then a notes section at the end because most of the book is noted throughout. The four parts in total are broken up further into 120 days. The first part of the book is more fleshed out, but it is still in a draft form, and the subsequent four parts are simply notes. And we'll get into why that is later. What we are going to be doing in this video, and I'm just going to say this from the start, I'm going to be giving you a review of the book, but there's really not a lot to review about the book because of the form that it is in. So what I am going to be doing for you today is summarizing all 120 days, all 600 passions, again, we'll get into that, and giving you just a general description of the book. So that if you never want to read this, and I would highly recommend you never read this, you never have to. That is what we are doing here today. And with that out of the way, let us start talking about this piece of literature. So, what is this? Essentially, four libertines, if you don't know what that word is, look that up right now, that will be very important, kidnap and traffic 8 young girls, 8 young boys, and a slew of other people into a castle in the mountains of it's either Germany or Switzerland. I think it ends up being Germany, but Sade gets confused and originally puts it in Switzerland or whatever. Doesn't matter. They traffic them up there and subject them to horrific, horrific things, all while 4 old prostitutes tell them stories regarding 600 passions over the course of the 120 days. So 600 passions of the flesh each day, anywhere from 4 to 6, depending on the days of the month. Stories are told, and the four storytellers are each given a month to tell 150 passions of their prescribed type, and they get worse and worse as the months go on. And so, yeah, 600 passions of the flesh that I will be summarizing for you today. It is going to get bad. We are not doing a trigger warning because the trigger warning for the first part of the book, the fleshed out part, the introduction, it's still in a first draft, but it's very descriptive. Looks like this. And the trigger warning for the whole book looks like this. So if I were to read that out, I would literally just be reading you almost my entire template. There's no point in me doing that. If you get triggered by pretty much anything, I would say stay away from this fucking book. If you don't get triggered by just about anything, but you get triggered by certain things, I mean, look at the fucking thing. Maybe the things that you get triggered by aren't on there. Who knows? If you're queasy, don't read this book. If you have triggers in your life, don't read this book. That is my suggestion. Okay, so let's start talking about the book and the author and the scroll that it was written on a little more. Let's talk about the scroll that this was written on. Sade wrote the 120 Days of Sodom in the Bastille, and if you know anything about French history, you may know where this is going. After being transferred there from another prison, he wrote it on the front and back of a scroll between 7 and 10 at night over 37 days. This much text, give or take 20 pages, over 37 days in minute script on the back and front of a scroll that he made by putting pieces of paper together. He hid the scroll in a copper cylinder that he kept in the wall, I guess in a brick or something, or behind a brick. One day, nearing the French Revolution, he was calling out from the window of his cell that prisoners in the Bastille's throats were being cut. He was then moved that same day. 11 days later, the Bastille was stormed, and the manuscript was presumed lost. It was before his wife could get to the scroll and all of his other belongings. The scroll lived in a family, and then with private collectors for a while before being released and translated. All future versions, including this one of the text, are based on the original translation by one Maurice Hine, or Hine, yeah, that's right, I think. No one since has seen and translated from the original, and it's now in a museum, I believe. Let's talk about the Marquis de Sade a little bit. So, de Sade is where the word sadism comes from. De Sade, engaged in sodomy and orgies and spent a large portion of his life in prison for different crimes. Now, there were a lot of different things that he engaged in, a lot of affairs, so they were called. Uh, and none of them are very great, and I'll just give you a list of what they are right now. So, in one that I don't even know how many of these he was actually punished for, but these are all different controversies that he had in his life. In one, he locked a prostitute in a room, insulted her Christianity, masturbated in front of her using religious objects, made her read him irreligious poetry, asked her to beat him with an iron scourge heated by fire, and threatened her life. In another one, he offered a widow a job and took her to his country residence, locked her in a room, threatened her life, tied her to the bed, whipped her, dripped wax on her, and cut her. He had an orgy with some prostitutes as well as his male servant and lover. He offered the prostitutes candy laced with poison, and some of them ate it and fell ill. The book describes what is known as, in other places, the Lacoste affair. They call it the Little Girls Affair, where Sade and his wife were treated to a property in Lacoste. There are going to be a lot of French pronunciations. I will reiterate this later. I am going to do my best, especially with the names. I looked up a lot of the pronunciations of the names. I am not going to get them right every time. It's just not going to happen. So as I was saying, Sade and his wife went to this property in Lacoste, however you pronounce it, with 7 servants, all children, and it is said that he had orgies with all of them, and that his wife helped cover it up, sending many of the girls to a convent until their wounds healed, if that tells you anything about the depravity that he got up to. One girl died of an illness, and according to the book, I could not find information, well, rather, the information on the Wikipedia article did not state this. I just read that as like more of a summary of these events after reading the book. According to the book, one of the girls fell pregnant, and Sade's wife had her locked up, and her child died of starvation. Now, as I said, children, right? Well, a lot of the victims in the book are children. Now, what does that look like in the late 1700s of France? Well, children as young as 12, or girls as young as 12, and boys as young as 14 could get married, according to this book. Again, forward, very informative, a lot of references, a lot of sources. However, even though this is the case, even though almost every single child, I think there might be one kid in one of the harems that is 11, could have legally gotten married, I'm pretty sure they would have still all been considered children due to the fact that most of them had not reached puberty yet, or a good portion of them had not reached puberty yet. And that's not even talking about the horrible crimes that are committed against them, which obviously would not have been okay at the time. But just generally, despite the fact that they could marry, most of them, or at least a good portion, would still have been considered children in late 1700s France. So, that's pretty much all the background you need to know. I will give you a quick review, and in doing so, I will say that it's almost impossible to give this a proper review. Had de Sade fleshed this out more, it would have been easier for me to review it. In its current form, it is a first draft and then notes, and it literally is just torture porn. That's all it is. Now, he states multiple times in the book that is the point, that the book's point is to detail 600 passions, some of which will turn you on and will have you spill your cum, as he puts it, and some of which will revolt you. I have seen some takes on the internet about how this whole thing is a piece of satire, and some of his other works, like Justine, seem very satirical. But the problem is that either through translation or because this is a first draft, the satire does not come through very well. Maybe if I read it in the original French, it would be a lot better. But I can sense very little satire in here. He also references things to the reader. He talks to the reader directly multiple times, telling them about how to carry out certain passions of libertinage in the best way possible. So, what I got from this is that this is just porn. for as many people as possible. It's just torture porn. There's very little substance in this form. It's just descriptions of pornography for as many people as possible. So it's very hard to review it. It is boring. It is repetitive. It is a chore. Is it disturbing? Yes, absolutely. Towards the end, he goes through all of these minute tortures of the subjects at the castle, and it's just like over and over and over again, describing the most awful things in detail. In the fourth part, at least, he details these just being done to these poor innocent people. It is mind-numbing. I am tired. I am exhausted. I just finished the book like 30 minutes ago. It is beyond anything I can describe. It did not make me queasy. It did not gross me out, but it is disturbing. I have dreamed about this book. This book has, and its characters have infiltrated my dreams. It is an experience beyond anything I can describe, and I would not wish it upon anyone. Do not read this book. The point of this video is so that you never have to read any copy of this book. If you read this book, buy this copy. That's all I will tell you. Because at least this has some, like, they correct the issues and what Sade says. There is a foreword describing all of the history I've just gone over. All of that out of the way, we are going to get into a plot summary. I'm going to go through the introduction with you. I'm going to describe the key characters in as brief a form as I can, and I am going to describe the 600 passions in as brief a form as I can. Now, a couple of things about that. The actual plot at Silling, which again is in the first part, is very well detailed, is taking a second place in importance here compared to the passions, because none of it really matters. I'm not going to be describing to you the 16 children and their names because they don't matter. They don't matter. I am not going to be describing to you every little thing that the Libertines, the Friends, as I will refer to them to frequently, as does the book, get up to, because most of it just copies the stories, the passions that are told to them throughout the day. The days as I describe them will most often than not, except in 10 cases, be the day number and a description of the passions, be they 4, 5, or 6. If something at Silling does happen that I find particularly interesting, there will be a before the passions, during the passions, or after the passions sections. And that is how it will be. Many of the passions of the men described are meant to be a common occurrence. They are describing the passion of a man, meaning that he engages in this every time he wants to come. Therefore, it is implied that these passions are carried out numerous times over the years. However, especially in the first part, these passions are told from the point of view of the storyteller, who is telling them as she first witnessed them. Therefore, in these cases, I will use the singular when telling the story. So, a girl, a man, instead of saying a man has girls or women do this and that multiple times. However, later on, and with some of the passions in the first book, it is very clear that it is being told in plurality. A man has women, and they do this, they do that, over multiple long periods of time, and I will describe them in plurality if this is the case. The summaries of the 150 passions will very much be dumbed down. They are very long, they are very drawn out, so my summaries, a couple of sentences, will be very much shortened. The summaries of the second and third, and part of the fourth parts, sometimes will be nearly the same as they are said in the book, and sometimes will be slightly longer. For example, instead of saying something like, he dislocates a wrist or he cuts off an arm, which I guess for the purpose of his notes, Sade usually starts his passions with he, referring to the John, the man who is participating in this trick with the prostitutes, or later with unwilling participants. Instead of saying that, I will say a man dislocates a girl's arm or a boy's wrist or whatever the fuck I just read, to make it proper English, to make it easily understandable for you. Now, again, even with that being the case, still more often than not, I will be greatly summarizing these passions, especially in the latter half of the fourth part. Even though they are still noted, they are still very, very lengthy, and I dumb them down quite a bit. And yeah, that is all I have to say to you. So, Without further ado, this is the 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade, and we are going to get into the plot right now. First, we are going to begin with the description of our characters. Now, I'm going to give you a little preliminary. So, we have the 4 friends, the 4 libertines. We have the 4 storytellers, the 4 horrors. We have 8 fuckers, men who are reserved solely for the pleasures of sodomy, essentially. They must have large penises. We have 8 young boys, 8 young girls, 4 hags, old women who are meant to be servants and to take care of the boys and girls. They are very filthy. We will get to that. And am I missing anything else? Oh, the 4 wives, of course, of the 4 wives and daughters of the libertines. We will get to that. But first, let me describe to you the first of our 4 friends, the Duc de Blangy. The Duc de Blangy is in extremely good shape, is 50 years of age, he is extremely hairy, he has a cock 12 inches long and 8 around, and has 0 refraction period. He is the master of an immense fortune and is thrice a widower, having killed all 3 of his wives. He has 2 daughters, and he abuses both of them, sexually and physically. He is the brother to the Bishop of X, X being a redaction, I'm assuming because Sade didn't want to step on the toes of an actual bishop. So I will henceforth refer to him as the bishop. And the Duke contains all the vices and evils of nature and is horrified by virtue. He is extremely anti-theistic. He killed his sister and his mother for their share of the fortune. After the successful assassination, he started killing anyone who got in his way and eventually graduated to killing people for sexual pleasure. At 23, he and 3 friends staged a stagecoach robbery. They raped and killed everyone indiscriminately and took the money, which they did not need because they were all wealthy. They then went to a ball for an alibi afterward. When he is drunk, he becomes incredibly violent and he commonly strangles the women he is having sex with to death during this. He can come 7 to 8 times in a row and has, on a wager, withstood 55 anal assaults in a day. And to top this all off, he is a massive coward who would, I think the book says he would cower to even a child if it raised a fist to him. He will not fight anyone on an even playing field. The second of our friends is the bishop. He is the brother to the Duc de Blangy. He is the same in mind, with an even greater wit, but he is infinitely inferior when it comes to his body, being weak and frail. He has a cock 5 inches long by 6... he has a cock 6 inches long by 5 inches around, and due to having delicate nerves, he will often swoon and faint upon climax. He is also an idolater of passive sodomy. When he was younger, one of the bishop's friends entrusted him to his 2 children as well as their fortune. Believing that he could trust this holy man, he relayed these instructions about giving them their fortune, raising them until they were 18, making them go to prestigious schools, etc., and then died. The bishop seized the fortune for himself, raised the children as his own, waited till they were 15, and then buggered them each for a week until they were dead. The bishop cannot fuck pussies, and the sight of one will leave him angry and flaccid. The third of our friends is the President de Courval. He is a judge, nearly 60 years of age, and is barely more than a skeleton. He has extremely saggy buttocks from years of attacks, from flogging and whipping, etc. He is also extremely hairy, has a gaping asshole, filthy with a 2-inch thick layer of feces. He can rarely attain an erection and has a life consumed by vices. He is incredibly anti-theistic, as is the bishop. I think I forgot to write that down, but the bishop, funnily enough, is also extremely anti-theistic. He has not fulfilled his duties in 10 years. After the news of a scandal came to light, the president completely plunged into depravity, and that is where we meet him now. The fourth and final friend is Durset, who is a financier. He has many features like that of a woman and is aged at 55 years. He has a penis 4 inches long by 2 inches around, and he is impotent, and his climaxes cause him great pain, and spasms precede them usually. He also loves being fucked by the Duke and is his longtime friend. We then have the wives. The 4 wives to the 4 men. We will get there. And also their daughters. We have Constance, who is the wife to the Duke and is aged at around 22 years. She is the daughter to Durset. She was beautiful everywhere, but after the Duke fucked her in the ass, that region has become weathered and frayed. She was a vaginal virgin before she met the Duke, having been fucked up the ass by her father since she was around 12. The first time the Duke fucked her up the ass, she grew so incredibly ill that it was thought she would die. They thought she had a perforated rectum, but she somehow managed to survive. She is an atheist. The second wife and daughter is Adelaide, who is the wife to Dorset and is aged at 20 years. She is the daughter to the president. The president deflowered her when she was around 11, and she managed to become Christian despite all of the anti-theistic stuff going on, which she is roundly punished for every time it is found that she is praying or performing her Christian duties. We then have Julie, the next wife and daughter. She is the wife to the president and the eldest daughter to the Duke. She is beautiful but filthy, especially in the ass and mouth, which is why the president loves her so much. The Duke waited until she was 15 to fuck her, but she still got extremely ill. The final wife and daughter is Aline, who is the youngest daughter to the Duke, but in actuality is the daughter to the bishop, who fucked one of his sister-in-laws and had the child. He's actually been raising her as her uncle father, so it doesn't matter anyway. And he has been fucking her up the ass since she was 10 years old. She is lazy and apathetic, and she is the only one among them who is actually wife to all 4 men. We'll get there in a second, but just keep that in mind. The 4 storytellers are as follows. We have Madame Duclos, who is 48 years old and is still useful. She is a high-class whore. We have Madame Champville, who is 50 years old, a lesbian who had a habit of keeping company with women. She lost a lot of business because of that, but then later became a bawd or procuress, I guess, and made some money back. She is an anal virgin and has a clit that sticks out 3 inches when she is aroused. And also she has an ass so flabby and worn that you could do anything you wanted to it and she wouldn't feel it. We then have the third storyteller and whore, Madame Martaine, who is 52 years old, and unlike Champville, can only take pleasure sodomically. This is due to an obstructive vagina. The bigger the tool, in her opinion, the better. Finally, we have Madame Desgranges. She is 56 years old, looks like Vice incarnate, has a wretched ass that is marbled with scarring. She has an asshole so big that the largest tool could enter her dry without her feeling a thing. She has 1 breast missing as well as 3 fingers. She is missing 6 teeth, 1 eye, and limbs. She has committed every crime under the sun. We then have the 4 fuckers whom I will name. The other 4 are not named in the book. They are referred to as the subaltern fuckers. They are not important to the story. We have Hercule, who is built like a god and is aged 26 years. He has a penis 8 1/6 inches around by 13 long. We have Antinous, who has a fine prick, great ass, is aged at 30 years, and has a cock 8 inches around by 12 long. We have Briscoul, which quite literally translates to break arse. The head of his penis measures at 8 1/4 inches around. His shaft is 8 inches around by 13 inches long, and is so crooked that his shaft would tear any anus it entered. And until the events of the book, he has not been able to have any sort of sexual interaction with anyone due to this. The final of the 4 superior fuckers is bandé au ciel, or erect to the sky in English. He is always erect and has a penis 7 11/12 inches around by 11 long. We then have the 4 servants or hags, the duennas, the old woman. They are referred to many things throughout the book. They're not referred to as hags. I will refer to them as hags. We have Marie, who was flogged and branded for crimes. She is 58 years old and had 14 children, all of whom she smothered. She has yellow teeth, and it has 1 ass cheek being eaten away by an abscess. We then have Louison, who is 60 years old. She is hunchbacked, has 1 eye, and is wicked and completely evil. We have Therese, who is 62 years old. She looks skeletal. She has no teeth, no hair, is foul-smelling, and has never wiped her ass. And apparently there is actual evidence of this. I think the book hints that you can see the shit that babies produce, that thick black stuff. So, you know. And then the final of the 4 hags is Fanchon, who was hanged 6 times in effigy, is a complete criminal, is 69 years old, has massive hemorrhoids hanging from her ass, has a canker devouring her vagina, a cancer eating her breast, and an asshole so large that she is incontinent. And the most important character in our story, the Castle of Silling, where all of these events that I'm going to detail take place. The castle is located in Germany and owned by Dorset. A series of torturous, arduous roads lead to it. Along these roads, you will come to a village, also owned by Dorset, in which he harbors a number of thieves and smugglers. He has instructed them, for the events of the book, to not let anyone who is not allowed pass. He arms them, pays them up front, bids them farewell. After the village, you must climb an expansive mountain. Upon reaching the top, there is a crevice measuring 180 feet wide that divides the mountain faces. Silling ceiling, from the point where climbers reach the top after a crafted wooden bridge that they have built so that they can cross the faces is destroyed for the events of the book. Descending the northern face on another pass, which I think is also hinted at being destroyed, you would find a field surrounded on all sides by rocky crags, and in the middle of the field the castle sits. The castle is encircled by a wall 30 feet high, then by a moat, then by another wall, on which there is a single back door leading to the central courtyard. Inside, there is the assembly room intended for storytelling, which is a semicircle. In the diameter of the semicircle, or in the center of the diameter of the semicircle, there is a throne for the storyteller of that month. On the sides of the semicircle are 4 niches where the friends will sit, and there are steps leading down from the throne upon which are the various human sex objects that can be used throughout that day for the storytelling. Should a friend become inflamed. In the castle, connected to the courtyard, there is a small Christian chapel that houses a dungeon hidden deep under the steps to the altar that is locked behind 3 iron doors and contains every object of torture and barbarity. Now, let me stretch a little bit. So, before our story at Silling can properly begin, we must first go through all of the events that precede it. The book takes place towards the end of a period of libertinage in France. Our 4 friends marry each other's daughters. I believe the Duke, Durset, and Courval marry each other's daughters in like a 3-way pattern, and then they decide that all 3 daughters will belong in body to none of them in particular. They will all retain the same rights over their bodies as they had when they were still their daughters. So all 3 men effectively become a husband to 4 wives in body. However, they still have their wife as property individually, and their wife sleeps with them, that kind of thing. And then the bishop comes in and is like, hey, yo, let me get in on that deal. I'm offering up a lien. And he does so, and thus Aline becomes the only one of the 3 who is not actually wife to one of the men in particular, and it's actually stated that on her wedding day she is met with all 4 of them naked. However, I think it is implied that she stays with the bishop as she has for her entire life. So technically the bishop is her husband, kind of, even though he's really not. The friends have a common fund in which $2 million a year are set aside for depravity. They have 4 procuresses and 4 pimps scouring the countryside of Paris for all of the things, the human sex objects that may sate their pleasure. The friends have 4 supper parties each week, each of them in a different house. The first of these supper parties involves the pleasures of sodomy and involves 16 young men aged 20 to 30 being the husbands and 16 young boys aged 12 to 16 being the wives. It is also said that the friends dress up as women in order to taste delights, whatever that may mean. At the second dinner, girls of superior class are present. There are 12 of them, and they are hired, and if 12 girls of this superior class cannot be found, girls of a slightly lower class are substituted. At the third dinner, there are nothing but vile and foul creatures, being 100 whores who enter in groups over the course of 6 hours. Very often, less than 100 leave. At the fourth, there are only present maidens, being virgin girls. There are 20 of them, aged 7 to 15, and they must have a maidenhead. And then there is a 5th secret dinner, which implies that, well, it's a 5th secret dinner that is only for the 4 friends, which implies that the other 4 are open to other people as well. I don't know. But at this one, they have 4 girls of high birth, noble girls, brought in, and they are tortured in orgies, and the wives are often present. And these girls are abducted. So, it is while all this is going on that the friends draw up a plan. They wish to have themselves surrounded with every form of pleasure, but they also wish to have orated to them every type and every offshoot of libertinage that can be dreamed of. Thus, they need to find storytellers. They come upon the 4 old whores who are to be their storytellers, and who, amongst themselves, are able to draw up 600 different passions, 150 each to be told throughout the storyteller's month. Each storyteller is given a month. They will tell 150 passions over the course of that month. That is how it will be. The first woman, Madame Duclos, is given the chore of telling the 150 simple pleasures. The second woman, Madame Champville, is given the 150 peculiar, and then later referred to as the dual pleasures, meaning multiple people are involved, not just a man and a woman. The third woman, Madame Martaine, is given the 150 criminal pleasures, and the fourth woman, Madame Desgranges, is given the 150 murderous pleasures. The friends decide they will carry out their friends in Dorset's castle of Silling. They will have with them 8 young girls, 8 young boys, 8 fuckers, 4 of whom are superior, 4 of whom are subaltern and are not important to the story, except for the fact that they are killed in the end, spoiler alert, and the 4 servants or hags or duennas or old women, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They have 17 procuresses scour the countryside, and they bring back 144 girls, 8 of whom are chosen to go to Silling with them. These girls must be of high birth, virtuous, and must be aged 12 to 15 years old. There are similar requirements for the boys, a similar number of pimps find boys, blah, 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 doesn't matter, etc. 8 men work to find fuckers who must have a penis 10 to 12 inches long. The girls that are brought to them by the procuresses are inspected. 8 are chosen, the others are sent away to be whored out by the bawds that brought them in. The boys are inspected. 8 of them are chosen, the others are sent away to a Turkish pirate to be turned into slaves. The fuckers are presented and chosen. Those not chosen are sent away with some money back to their homes. The book describes it because they are adults and they are mature enough to handle what is going on. Whatever, I don't fucking know. The Libertines send out servants to scour Paris for the 4 ugliest, foulest creatures that will fill the role of their servants, their hags, their old women, duennas, whatever the fuck you want to call them. And thus we arrive at the plot of Silling. Now, we're not at the first of the 120 days yet, but we are close. After everyone arrives at Silling, the doors to the castle are barricaded and locked, and I think they board them up so that it's not even clear that there's a door there. The friends draft a list of regulations and codes, of which only a few matter to us or matter to you. They're not even going to come up in the story that I'm going to tell, but they're just interesting. They're there. I will tell them to you now. All women shall kneel each time they meet a libertine. Boys and girls who break rules will be sentenced to corporal punishment. Any storyteller caught breaking rules shall be punished half as severely. Any hag or wife caught breaking rules shall be punished twice as severely. Any man caught fucking a woman when he has not been granted permission will lose a limb. Any religious act on the part of any of the subjects will result in immediate death. Any attempts at escape by any of the subjects will result in immediate death. No child shall be deflowered anally or vaginally until the time specified by the person or the friend specified. Any friends breaking rules shall be fined, and no subject of any kind may clean themselves without permission. Any kind of cleanliness, wiping their ass mainly. The Duke then gives a sermon to all the women, essentially saying that they are second-class citizens, that their frontal parts disgust most of them, and that they would do well to give in to every whim that the Libertines have, and that if they fail to, what is the actual wording? Fully anticipate and execute the friends' needs, they will be severely punished. So they are supposed to essentially read these people's minds, which is really just an excuse to punish them. Now we get into the first part. The 150 simple pleasures told by Madame Duclos over the month of November. 5 pleasures each day over the course of 30 days. They begin thus. Day 1. Before the pleasures, the Duke manages to remain composed and drink 3 bottles of wine while being buggered. And then we come to the passions. The following are the passions of day 1. A friar brings a 5-year-old Duclos into a closet, frigs himself, so masturbates, I'm going to be using that word a lot, and comes on her face. A second friar brings Duclos to his room, has her drink a bunch of fluid, then has her piss on his cock while he frigs it over a chamber pot. He then comes while this is happening. We are on the second passion of the first day of the simple passions, and we are into urophilia. Let that be a warning. Another friar brings a 7-year-old Duclos to his room, seals his lips to her orifice, and has her piss into his mouth. Another friar takes Duclos to his room and sucks the snot out of her nose on a cold day. A 5th friar takes a 9-year-old Duclos to his room, teaches her how to frig herself and how to frig a man. These are the passions of the second day. The Father Superior pins down Duclos' sister and comes over her face. Now in a brothel, a man comes over Duclos' cunt and pushes it inside with his fingers because he cannot get hard. A man gives himself a hair job. He comes in the prostitute's hair. A man gets fisted by Duclos' sister. He rubs himself off in his pants. A man comes over Duclos' asshole. These are the passions of the third day. A man comes over the thighs of a woman while suckling from her breast. A man has a woman wrapped up in sheets. He comes on her exposed ass. A man gives oral to Duclos' sister. A man sucks the spit out of a 12-year-old Duclos' mouth. A man eats out Duclos' ass. Day 4. Before the stories, Courval sticks his cock between the thighs of one of the boys. He has the boy jerk him while he jerks the boy. The Duke begins fucking Courval. Doucet places his ass in front of the boy and in front of Courval so that when both of them come, they come on Doucet's ass, all while the bishop eats ass in the corner. After this day, the friends constantly fuck people's thighs during coffee. Constantly. They literally say now that thigh fucking is in vogue on the next day. It is insane. It is insanity. It is insane. The following are the passions of the 4th day. A man corrupts young girls into whoredom. A man watches other men eat girls' asses without the man knowing. A man plays with Duclos' ass while another man watches secretly. The man thinks he's watching in secret. The John playing with Duclos' ass knows that he's being watched and likes it. A man takes Duclos to an area known for prostitution. He has her frig men in public. He then has her suck him off in public. A man pays 2 whores and dresses up as a pimp. He then brings young men to these whores, then hides off somewhere in the corner while these whores play with this young man and show the man in the corner the goods, essentially. These are the passions of the 5th day. A man has a porter bought and brought into a room adjoining his. The porter is frigged. His cum is collected and then brought to the John in the adjoining room. The John drinks it, and then the John comes at drinking this, and the whore frigging the John feeds the cum into his mouth. So, a man has a woman exercise until she is all sweaty. He then fucks her armpit and licks the other one while doing so. For several weeks, Duclos' sister is forbidden to wipe and clean herself. When she is incredibly filthy, a lecher arrives, sponge bathes her into a bidet filled with sparkling wine, and then drinks several mouthfuls of this. An older woman with rank feet is presented to a man. He licks these, sucks these, eats the gunk between her toes, and comes. And just in the future, assume that if I don't say it, the man comes. A man with a taste for mutilated women has a old duenna with one eye brought to him. Her back is covered in branding scars, and he licks these and kisses these and then comes over them. These are the passions of the 6th day. A man has a woman with a penchant for burping a lot after eating food. Eat a lot of food. He then comes into the room, seals his mouth to hers, and has her burp into his mouth. He swallows her burps. A 16-year-old Duclos is made to eat a large lunch. She then drinks an emetic substance. A lecher arrives and starts kissing her, sticks his tongue into her throat, the stench of which disgorges her food. She then vomits into his mouth. We are on, day 6? Already in metaphilia. A man and a very libertine whore are given all manner of food and drink. They eat, they vomit on each other, on themselves, on the floor, into each other's mouths, and promptly, when that happens, promptly return what was just received. When they are passed out, near dead drunk, Duclos enters and frigs the man who writhes all over the floor in his own filth. A man takes the same whore, ties her legs far apart, soaks a number of food items in her vagina, and then eats them. A 17-year-old Duclos is meant to take the part of a dressmaker's apprentice during this next passion. She arrives at this lecher's house. He asks her a bunch of questions, verifying that she is an innocent girl. And then he seals his lips to her asshole and has her fart into his mouth and into his nostrils. These are the passions of the 7th day. A man has an old woman fart in his face. A man eats out Duclos while she is on her period. A man likes eating miscarriages. A man sits in a little cubbyhole beneath the floor, and above his head there is a little opening into the room above. He is frigged. A second man is brought into the room and also frigged. The second man comes into the hole onto our John's head, and at this the John comes. A man licks every part of a filthy, disgusting hag of a woman, has her chew food and swallow drink, swish it around, and then spit it back into his mouth. He also swishes this around and swallows it. He then sticks his tongue in her asshole and comes. These are the pleasures of the 8th day. A man frigs himself in Duclos' mouth, coming in it. A man in Duclos 69. A man and a disgusting old woman 69, his face on her ass and hers on his cock. A girl sucks a disgusting cock. A man has Duclos squat on his face, suck his cock while pissing and farting on his face. On the 9th day, before the passions, Courval thigh fucks a boy and makes a girl suck the part that protrudes past the boy's legs. These are the passions of the 9th day. A man has all the whores of Duclos' brothel shit in his pants before he puts them back on and walks out. Duclos is made to wear male garb. She shits in her pants, is sent to a libertine's house, who pulls her pants down, scolds her for shitting in her pants, and then comes over the stool in her pants. A man is given a pot filled with stool. He plays with all of the stool in the pot, mixes it, squishes it, and then frigs himself with his shitty hand and comes in the pot. A man eats dinner next to 12 plates of shit. After finishing, he then has Duclos frig him over one of them. Duclos is given an enema, made to climb a stepladder, and then made to release the enema over the John's cock. And then after these stories, it is revealed that all 4 libertines are coprophiliacs, as we are now entering the pleasures of coprophilia. Even though we are only on, well, we only just got into the 9th day of the simple passions. So, these are the passions of the 10th day. A man gives a milk enema to a girl who has just shat. She straddles him, puts her ass in his face, and then releases into his mouth. A man has Duclos sit on a makeshift toilet with a chamber pot beneath. He watches her as she shits and helps her along by squeezing her asshole while he frigs himself. A man acts out a scene where he is pretending to be reading. He has a shit on a plate thrust under his nose. He insults the person doing it, is horrified by it, but he starts fondling it, and then he comes. A man has an old woman shit on him while jerking him off. There is a closed stool, which is an old-timey toilet. It's essentially a stool, a seat that you sit on, connected to a chamber pot or with a chamber pot beneath it, and it would be used as a toilet. And this closed stool is connected to a reversed glory hole, so where your upper half is through the hole into one room and the other half is into the other. And a John sticks his head under the closed stool, which is covered on all sides, so that the person using it cannot see him. And then in the adjoining room where his legs are, he has Duclos suck him off while a porter comes in, shits into the closed stool onto his face, at which point he comes. These are the passions of the 11th day. A young girl is forbidden to wipe for a long period of time. A monk enters, asks her, "Are you clean?" She says yes, going along with the scene. The monk pulls her pants down, inspects her, realizes she is lying, insults her, cleans her with his tongue, and then comes. Duclos covers a man in shit, like smearing it on him, while frigging him. Duclos shits in the mouth of a man who spits out each mouthful as she gives it to him. Another man does much the same. However, he keeps it in his mouth for longer, swishes it, and then spits it. A man takes a chamber pot with 4 turds into a room and then does something with them that no one knows. It is implied that he eats them, I believe. These are the passions of the 12th day. Duclos shits in a man's mouth. He chews and swallows a little at a time, and then he persuades her to leave the brothel with him. At this man's house now, his friends arrive for a dinner party. One of his friends takes her to a closet where he has her shit on a plate. She then sucks him off while he eats it. A man has a boy shit in his mouth while he frigs the boy. A man has Duclos kiss his ass. He then shits and farts into her face. The shit lands in a bowl after she pulls back. He eats it while she fingers him. One of Duclos' man's friends has her man and another one of the house guests shit into his mouth. He eats the shit. These are the passions of the 13th day. A man stands back to back with Duclos. They both shit into a pot. The man gets down on his knees. He mixes up the shit, eats it while Duclos frigs him. Having stolen from her man and fled, a 23-year-old Duclos is now back in the brothel. She is taken to a room with a barrel of shit. A man enters and has her help him into the barrel. He sticks his dick through a hole in the barrel and has her frig him while he romps, bathes, eats, and blasphemes. Duclos shits and pisses into a chamber pot. It is kept for a week until it starts to go moldy, at which point a libertine enters and eats it while looking at her ass. A man has the madame of a brothel, a filthy 68-year-old woman, come into a room with him. He kisses and sucks her disgusting mouth, plunges 3 liqueur bottles into her asshole, drinks them from her, and then falls over dead drunk. A brigadier is swaddled like a baby. Duclos shits in front of him and feeds it to him from her fingertips like pap. He then comes while crying out like a baby. These are the passions of the 14th day. A man brings Duclos to a closet full of drawers that are each filled with shit, each from a different person of a different age. He picks out the best one, he eats it, has Duclos replace it, and then cleans her asshole with his tongue. A man needs 8 to 10 shits together, bites into the middle of them, and comes. A man shits in Duclos' mouth. He then eats it out of her mouth. Duclos takes a laxative and shits into a man's mouth. A man sits in a room adjoining one where Duclos comes in with a coachman. She makes the coachman shit onto a platter, makes the coachman come over the platter, and then rushes this shit cum concoction to the man in the adjoining room, the Jean. These are the pleasures of the 15th day. Halfway through part 1. Jesus Christ, God help me. A man shits in and on a girl's cunt, shoving it in farther with his fingers. Duclos helps a man to shit by squeezing and stretching his asshole. She then licks him clean. A man shits on a girl's face, smears it around, and comes on her stomach. A man dunks a girl in a barrel of shit, then cleans her with his tongue. A man has a girl shit in his mouth. He fingers her asshole. She frigs him and eats the turd out of his mouth. These are the passions of the 16th day. A man has a girl shit on the floor. He then shits on the shit, mixes them together, and then has her crawl on all fours to eat it while he frigs himself. A man gives himself enemas and has a girl swallow them while he frigs himself. A man, completely covered in weeping ulcers, has a girl lick him clean. He then straddles her, shits on her stomach, and uses her breasts to wipe his ass. A man has Duclos grope and abuse his ass and asshole while he frigs himself. Duclos slaps a man's ass until it is red and then frigs him. These are the pleasures of the 17th day. A man has a girl whip his dick and balls with a birch, which is like a handle connected to a bunch of birch sticks. He comes from the friction alone. A man has Duclos whip him 100 times with a birch while he frigs himself. Duclos is made to not wash for a long period of time. A couple of birches are set aside in chamber pots filled with piss and shit left there to marinate. A man comes in, Duclos flogs him with these birches. He then switches to licking her dirty holes. They go back and forth for a few times before she shits on his head and he comes. During the stories, on page 220, Horval says, "All I can tell you for certain is that at this very moment I am speaking to you, I could do with a really foul whore. I'd like her fresh from the seat of a close stool, her arse reeking of shit, and her cunt smelling of fish. Ho there, Therese, you whose filthiness dates back to the flood, you who haven't wiped your arse since you were baptized, and you whose vile cunt stinks for 10 miles around, bring all that over here, I beg you, and add a turd too, if you like." A man has Duclos flog him for an hour with a birch and a cat of nine tails. He then shits. Her blows send the shit everywhere all over the floor. She then gets in front of him and shits in his mouth. A man has himself flogged down his back with birches soaked in vinegar. When the girl tires, she sucks him off. Day 18. These are the pleasures of the 18th day. 12 more. A girl frigs a man all over until he's dripping with blood. He then comes on her buttocks. A girl whips a man brutally, pisses in her hand, rubs it all over his deepest wounds, whips him again until he comes, then collects his cum, and also rubs it into his wounds. A man has a boy cross-dressed. The boy whips him with willow switches. The man eats the boy's ass and is switched again. He is frigged, and sucks the boy momentarily and is switched again. He then throws the boy in the bed, and the two frot and come. A man has Duclos slap him across the face until he comes. A man has to be flicked 20 times on the nose, his ears pulled until they bleed, and his balls prick and buttocks bitten. He then comes over the face of the torturer. On the 19th day, the following passions are described. A man has himself tied to a ladder. He is thrashed with a birch until he comes. A man has his dick and balls, and his buttocks and thighs pricked with a needle. Duclos shoves it into his glands, nearly to its eye, and he comes. A man is thrashed with thistles until he is bloody. Upon seeing himself in the mirror, he comes. A man is made to recite lessons. Upon messing up, he is hit on his hands or buttocks with a ferula, which is a piece of flat leather used for punishing schoolchildren. The girl then grabs and frigs him, all while insulting him. A man has Duclos place a chamber pot on her knees. He positions himself, and she helps him to shit by stretching his asshole. He pounces on the dish, and she switches him violently while he eats, insulting him all the while until he comes. On the 20th day, before the passions, Sade describes the following as amusing. The Duke, dead drunk, wanders into the girls' quarters and into one of their beds, mistaking the girl for Aline, his wife for the night. He tries to rape her, but she runs. He then catches another girl and attempts to do the same. He chases various girls around the room until Constance arrives and leads him back to his bed. The following are the passions of the 20th day. A man eats a chamber pot full of shit while Duclos caresses his buttocks with a bull's cock, or as they refer to it, and I shall henceforth refer to it as a pizzle. He comes. A man has an old disgusting woman shit for him. A girl eggs him on to eat it, and when he does not, she tortures him by branding his buttocks until he obeys. A man eats an old filthy porter's shit while his buttocks are beaten and grabbed by a pair of burning hot tongs. A man eats shit while being poked in all of his sensitive places by a cobbler's awl. A man has shit raised from a cesspit, which was a pit of sewage. He eats it and is beaten in the buttocks with a cane. On the 21st day, the following passions are described. A man kidnaps an old infirm woman's daughter. He spoils her last bit of sustenance by pissing in it, has her kiss a prostitute's, her second daughter's, ass, comes on her, steals from her, pulls her from her bed, comes on her again, and then comes on her again while threatening her stolen daughter, all while hailing insults. A man dressed as a cleaner enters Duclos' brothel, sweeps her room, takes out the chamber pot to empty it, then asks for payment. At this, Duclos begins to beat him and assault him with a broom handle, chasing him about. He comes and flees. A man has himself frigged and sounded vigorously with a small knotty stick. He comes on Duclos' crotch. A man has his cock and balls covered in hot wax dripped from a candle. He comes from the sensations. A man has his buttocks covered in golden pins. He sits on the pins, frigs, and comes on a girl's asshole. On the 22nd day, these are the passions described. A man has a dildo filled with water inserted. It squirts into his rectum, and he comes. A man has a series of dildos increasing in size inserted into his rectum and removed. He comes on the largest one. A man has a large dildo inserted. He then shits and eats it while being frigged. The dildo was inserted again. The horse shits, he eats it, is frigged, and the dildo is inserted again. He comes. A man is fully constrained at all joints and comes. A man has a cord tied around his glands. A girl threads the cord between her legs, showing the man her ass, pulling the cord, and then he comes from the sensation. On the 23rd day, these are the passions described. A man enters a room where a whore is posed to look as if she has just been caught masturbating. She insults him and kicks him in the buttocks until he comes. A John enters a room where a porter is made to look as if he is counting his money. The porter cries that he is being robbed, then insults and kicks the man on his ass. Approaching climax, the man turns, insults the porter, and comes. A man is posted in a room with whores. Two other men enter, fall to arguing, and attack the John with hands and canes. The man weeps and runs away to another room, is received by a girl who coddles him and shows him her buttocks, which he then comes on. Ignore my glasses, my handwriting is terrible. A man has the same preliminaries as those of the one above. Upon being beaten, he begins to frig himself. When he gets close, he is thrown out of a window onto a dung pile and comes. A John waits in a room with a whore. A paid troublemaker arrives, the whore his alleged mistress, and he begins insulting the John and threatening the John with a sword. He then says he will let the John go if the John kisses his ass. The John does so, and the man farts in his face, and the John comes. On the 24th day, these are the passions described. A John enters. Duclos begins a scene, informing him that she has been tasked by the courts with his punishment for previous offenses. He begs her to go easy on him. She has him remove his clothes, then flays him with a red-hot iron scourge while beating him for his crimes. He admits to them, frigs himself. Duclos redoubles her efforts, and he comes. Duclos enters the room. The John begins the scene. He informs her that he is dying, that he wants to see her backside before he goes, then gives her instructions to move his body to a coffin in the room and nail it shut. He plays with her ass, feigns death. She nails him in, and he comes, threatening Duclos' life as he does so. She runs away. A man has Duclos sew his asshole shut. He comes, and she removes the thread. A man has Duclos rub what is essentially unrefined alcohol into his hair and all over his body. She lights it aflame, shows him her crotch, and he comes. A man is treated like a donkey. He is ridden, switched, frigs himself, and comes. On the 25th day, these are the passions described. A man has a whore snuff out candles on his sensitive areas. He comes while sucking her asshole. A man has a whore rub him down with a horse's curry comb. She then rubs unrefined alcohol into his wounds. He comes between her breasts. A man has Duclos pluck the hair on his buttocks while he frigs himself over her shit. He has her prick him with a needle. He buries his face in the shit and comes. A man has Duclos bite as hard as she can on his cock while flaying his buttocks with a steel comb. As he approaches climax, she lowers his anus onto a candle and he comes. A man has Duclos fake his executions. She hangs him from a trick rope that breaks. Fake breaks his limbs on a cross with a cardboard rod, brands him with a slightly warm poker, and flogs him, all while insulting him. He then comes on her buttocks. On the 26th day, these are the passions described. A man has Duclos stand with him and frig him as near boiling water is poured over them both. A man has Duclos rub him down with red-hot gravel. She jerks him with a handful of gravel while bringing a red-hot shovel to his balls, which he then comes on, and it is said that the cum sizzles and that he likes that. A man has Duclos frig him over open coffins. He comes on the bodies. A man would have Duclos find him the graves of freshly interred girls. They would go to the graves, dig them up, and he would be frigged and come over them. Sometimes both he and Duclos would shit on the corpse, which he would then come over. A man has a whore masturbate with a dildo for exactly 3 hours. In the 3rd hour, he comes in her face. On the 27th day, these are the passions described. A man has Duclos come to his house. She enters a dark room where the John viciously fondles her breasts and buttocks. As he approaches climax, he threatens her life and she flees. A man titty fucks Duclos while spitting in her face. A man is described to us as being a kleptophiliac. A man likes watching executions and has Duclos frig him as they take place. A man who works at the courts has women sentenced to death brought to him. He has them show him their buttocks and shit for him so that he can eat it. He then watches their execution and comes very similarly to the previous man. On the 28th day, the following passions are described. A man hurls violent insults at a girl until she cries. It is at this point that he comes all over her. A man has girls brought to him who are waiting for some sort of news from someone, for example, from suitors, from ill relatives, etc. He tells them that the person has died. In one instance, a girl faints, so he rolls her over, hitches up her skirts, and comes on her ass. A man watches women give birth, frigging himself to their pain and coming over their newborn's head. A man has a pregnant woman stand on a pedestal like a statue. He watches her and frigs himself until he comes. A man has a mother beat her young child in front of him. Upon crying, the mother frigs the man into the child's face and he comes in the child's tears. On the 29th day, the following passions are described. A man shaves a woman's pubic and armpit hair, then comes over her shorn crotch. A man has dead girls, freshly murdered, brought to him by his valet. Unbeknownst to him, the valet is bringing him live girls and dressing them to look at. He fondles such girls before coming on their assholes. During the stories, the following transpires on page 301. This is a dialogue between the president and the duke. "And what the devil are you up to in the meantime?" Courval asked the duke. Leave me be, said the duke. "I'm fucking my daughter and imagining her dead." I found that particularly funny. Because what are you going to do if you can't cry but laugh? A man has Duclos get on all fours and play fetch with his dogs. He then has her eat from the same bowl as them, coming on her back as she does so. A man has an uninformed 16-year-old Duclos brought to him and locked in a closet. He finds her and pretends that she is a thief. He summons his valet, has her thrown in a sack and stitch it shut, and tells him to throw her into a river. It is at this point that our man comes. Duclos is released, having believed she was in real danger the entire time. A man with a similar mania has Duclos put in a closet with his valet, who entices her to steal something. She does. The master enters, and then the two engage in lewd acts before the man makes some excuse to look for the stolen object. He does not find it, accuses her of theft, strip searches her, finds the object, asks his valet to go fetch a lawman. The lawman enters. The John asks the lawman to have her hanged. She is escorted out of the room. Our man comes in the background, and then the lawman is revealed to be the valet who helps her recover, as she truly believed she was in danger. And then finally, the 30th day of part 1. A man takes his pleasure by inciting women to have premarital sex or sex out of wedlock. He provides them with an object of their desire, then hides in the corner while they fuck. Duclos enters a house naked. She walks up to a John and farts in his face. Enraged, the man chases her with a birch until she is cornered. At the sight of her total humiliation, he comes. A man has Duclos sit on a swing and raises it into the air. She swings past his face for an hour, either farting as she goes by or getting slapped on the ass. At some point, the John comes. A man forces his wife and daughter to whore themselves at Duclos' whorehouse. He sits with Duclos in an adjoining room as his wife enters and has her breasts shit on. Her daughter then enters, whose buttocks are exposed to the hole at which the John sits. The libertine conducting this scene then comes in the John's daughter's mouth, and at this the John also comes. The whore enters a man's house. The man acts as if she is intruding and threatens her life. He rips off her clothes and throws them in the fire, threatening to burn her the same way, and falls into his chair coming. The whore is led away by a valet. And thus concludes the pleasures of part 1. And we will immediately jump into part 2. Part 2, the 150 peculiar or dual passions. These are the passions of the 31st day. A man deflowers a 5-year-old Champville in the vagina. A man has a 9-year-old girl bound in a ball before he deflowers her. A man deflowers a young girl with a pistol to her throat. A John makes a man come against a virgin's cunt, who the John then fucks. A man deflowers 3 girls in a row, a baby, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. On the 32nd day, 4 women hold down a virgin girl for a man to fuck. A man fondles the asses of his valet and a young girl. He has the valet fuck the girl. The man comes over the valet's ass. A man deflowers a woman the day before her wedding. A man deflowers a bride between her mass and wedding night. A man has his valet marry girls and bring the girls to him so that he can fuck them. On the 33rd day, a man deflowers 2 sisters. A man marries a girl, deflowers her, then bolts. A man fucks a girl right after she is deflowered, wanting her vagina to be smeared with sperm, which he uses as lubricant. A man deflowers a girl with a dildo, then comes on her crotch. A man pays for nobly born virgins. This man is revealed to be the Duke. On the 34th day, you're seeing that these are going a lot faster because they're not as fleshed out, so it was me turning a paragraph into a sentence instead of me turning 3 pages into a paragraph. On the 34th day, a man has a brother and sister shit and then fuck each other. The John then fucks the sister. A man fucks a virgin, then has the girl's father fuck her. A man takes his daughter to a brothel on her 9th, has the bot hold her down, and deflowers her. A man deflowers women aged 30 to 40. A man pays to be able to deflower nuns. On the 35th day, a man fucks a mother, then has the mother hold down her daughter, who he deflowers. A man fills virtuous wives with disgust for their husbands, then fucks them. A John finds a husband and wife. The John has the husband hold down the wife while the John fucks her. A man fucks a mother while kissing her daughter's cunt and having the daughter piss. They switch, and the man kisses the mother's ass while having her shit. A man fucks all 4 of his daughters and gets them pregnant so that he may engage in incest with the babies. After these passions, the Duke relays a story about how a man had a daughter by his own mother. He married this girl to his son so that by fucking her he was fucking his sister, his daughter, and his daughter-in-law all at the same time. On the 36th day, a man has himself and a girl frigged at the same time. He comes. A man kisses a girl while she farts, whilst 2 others fondle his ass and prick. The girls then switch places. A man licks a girl's pussy while fucking another in the mouth, while still a third licks his arse. The girls switch like the above passion. A man sucks on a filthy asshole while frigging himself over another filthy asshole, as a third girl eats his ass. The girls then switch. A man has 2 girls frig 2 other girls, all 4 placed before him. He fucks the friggers from behind in turns. On the 37th day, a man has an older girl corrupt a younger girl. The elder holds the younger one down while the man fucks her. A man fucks 4 women, 2 in the mouth and 2 in the pussy, while a 5th follows him and fucks him with a dildo. A man licks and sucks the mouths, pussies, and assholes of 6 mothers and 6 daughters, sucking the saliva and having them piss and shit as he does so. A man has 8 women frig him from different positions. A man watches as 3 couples fuck in different positions. On the 38th day, 12 girls surround a man, showing him their buttocks. He frigs as he watches them. 6 couples frig each other in a hall of mirrors as the John watches and is frigged by an old woman. A man gets 4 old ugly whores drunk, has them beaten, then has them vomit in his mouth. A man has a girl shit in his mouth while another sucks his cock. After he comes, the girls switch. A John has a man shit in his mouth. The John eats it while a boy frigs him. The man and the boy switch. On the 39th day, a man fucks a girl in the mouth after shitting in it, her head between the thighs of a second girl whose face is being shat upon by a third. He eats the shit off of the second's face, then the girls switch. A man has 30 women shit in his mouth each day. He eats a few from the prettiest girls. A man has 12 girls shit in his mouth one at a time. A man gets into a bath. 30 women then fill it with piss and shit. The man romps and wallows and comes. A man has older women eat his shit. They then shit and he mixes the turds and eats them. On the 40th day, a man has 2 girls eat each other's shit. They shit again and he eats it. A man has a mother shit on her 3 daughters' arses. She eats it off, then the daughters do the same to her. A man has a daughter shit in her mother's mouth and wipe her ass on her breasts. The man eats the shit from the mother's mouth. Then the girls switch. A John has a man eat his own son's shit. The John then eats the man's shit. A man has a brother shit in the sister's cunt. The man eats the shit. The sister shits in the brother's mouth, and the man eats this too. God, I'm so fucking... Oh my god, we're only 41 days in. I'm exhausted by this. Oh, fuck me. Doing this for you. I don't even know if anyone's going to even appreciate this. I hope someone out there does. God almighty. On the 41st day, a man and a whore both utter blasphemies as she frigs him. A man has a girl frig him in a church. A man goes to confession and frigs himself in the booth. A man has a girl go to confession. He then fucks her mouth afterward. A man fucks a whore during mass in his chapel. On the 42nd day, a man pays a confessor for his seat. He then gives the penitents the worst advice. A man listens to his daughter's confession and then has her skirt hitched so that he can see her ass throughout. A man frigs himself over a whore's buttocks as naked whores perform a mass. A John has his wife go to confession. He has the confessor make a proposition to fuck her in the face. She refuses, and the John comes out from hiding to help the confessor. On the 43rd day, a man fucks a whore on the altar right before mass. A man has a whore straddle a crucifix before fucking her from behind so that her clit rubs Jesus' head. A man has himself and a whore fart, piss, and shit into a chalice. He then comes in it. A man has a boy shit on a paten, which is where the host is laid during the Eucharist, a Christian rite in which the bread and wine are turned into Jesus' body and blood, which the communicants then eat. He eats the boy's shit as the boy sucks his cock. A man has himself and 2 whores shit on a crucifix. He has himself frigged over it. On the 44th day, a man smashes up a series of religious objects and portraits, shits on the debris, then burns them. The same man has himself frigged during a sermon. A man goes to communion, then has 4 whores shit in his mouth. A man has a girl go to communion. Upon her return, he fucks her mouth. A man in his chapel interrupts the priest, has himself frigged into the chalice, has the priest frigged into the chalice, then makes the priest drink it. A man makes a priest fuck a whore with the host upon consecration. On the 45th day, a man has himself and a whore fart on the host. He eats the host while fucking her. A man has himself and a whore shit on the host. He throws it into a latrine. A man frigs a whore with the host. He comes over it. A man carves the host up with a knife. He has the crumbs shoved up his ass. A man comes over the host. Then he has a dog eat it. On the 46th day, a man has himself flogged during mass while fucking a whore's mouth. He comes during the elevation, which is when the host and chalice are lifted after consecration. A man has 2 whores flog him 10 times each with a cat o' nine tails, playing with his ass in between. A man has himself flogged by 4 whores while they fart in his mouth. They switch so that all flog and all fart. A man has himself flogged by his wife while fucking his daughter. The girls switch. A man has 2 whores flog him, one in front and one behind. He then fucks one while one flogs, and the girls switch. On the 47th day, a man kisses a boy's asshole while fucking a whore in the mouth, while still another flogs him. The whores and the catamite switch and take turns. A John fucks an old husband in the mouth while the wife flogs him and the daughter shits in the John's mouth. The family switches places. A man comes over a crucifix pressed to a whore's buttocks while he is flogged. A man has himself flogged while he fucks a whore with the host from behind. A man has all the whores of a brothel flog him in turn while he kisses the baud's asshole as she shits and farts. On the 48th day, a man receives a group of coachmen and stable boys 2 at a time. One flogs him while the other farts in his face. They then switch. 3 whores hold a John down while a 4th straddles and flays him. The whores switch places. A John enters a room to find 6 whores. He begs them for forgiveness, and each orders a penance, all of which are utterly filthy sex acts. For each penance he refuses, the whore who asked it of him whips him 100 times. A group of whores visit an intoxicated man 3 at a time. One flogs him, one shits in his mouth, and one sucks his cock. They switch places. 25 whores molest a man's ass and only leave him when it is numb. On the 49th day, a man has 6 whores try him for his crimes. He is sentenced to hang. Upon hanging, the rope breaks and he comes. A man has 6 old women surround him while 3 younger whores flay him. The old women spit in his face. A man has himself teased anally with a birch handle while a 2nd whore flogs his cock and thighs. He comes on the breasts of the flagellatrix. A man has 2 whores flog him with bullcocks, while a 3rd has him come on her breasts. On the 50th day, a man is flogged by 6 women, all the while pretending as if he wants to escape or take their weapons from them. A man runs between 2 rows of 12 whores who flog him as he passes. While on a sofa, a man has the soles of his feet, his prick, his thighs flogged, while whores shit in his mouth. A man has 3 whores flog him, one with a pizzle, one with a birch, and one with a cat o' nine tails, while the 4th whore sucks him off. The John's lackey fondles the asshole of this last whore while the John jerks him off. A man has himself surrounded by 6 whores. One pricks him, one bites him, one burns him, one flogs him, one punches him, and one scratches him. Pinches him, and one scratches him. All this until he comes. On the 51st day, a man has himself frigged while a whore stands on a pedestal. She must stand there until he comes. A man has a bod frig him. He fondles her ass. A whore holds a short candle and cannot drop it until he comes, which he does not do until she burns herself. A man has 6 whores lie on a table with short candles up their asses as he dines. A man has a whore kneel on sharp stones while wax is dripped on her back and breasts. All the while he dines. If she moves, she is not paid. A man forces a girl to remain in a tight cage for 4 days in which she cannot sit nor lie down. On the 52nd day, a man has a girl dance in a blanket in which there is a cat that attacks her while she moves. She does this until he comes. A man rubs a woman with a drug that makes her violently itchy. She scratches until she bleeds as he frigs himself. A man stops a woman's period with a drink and thereby risks making her seriously ill. A man gives a woman horse medicine which makes her violently shit. A man cuffs a girl in honey, then ties her to a column and releases a swarm of flies. A man ties a girl to a pivot which spins her violently until he comes. Sorry, this is the 53rd day now. God Christ. Fuck. A man ties a girl to a pivot which spins her violently until he comes. A man hangs a girl upside down until he comes. A man gives a girl an emetic, convinces her she has been poisoned, and frigs as she vomits. A man beats a girl's breasts until she bruises. A man beats a girl's ass 9 days in a row, 3 hours each day. On the 54th day, a man has a girl climb a trick ladder. A rung breaks under her and she falls onto a mattress. He comes over her and fucks her. A man slaps a girl as hard as he can and comes. A man slaps a girl's hand with a ferula. A man slaps a girl's buttocks until she cannot take it any longer. A man inflates a girl using a blacksmith's bellows up her ass. A man gives a girl an enema of near boiling water. He comes on her ass. On the 55th day, a man finds devout women, beats them with religious objects, makes them hold a pose on a pedestal during mass, and has them shit on the host. A man has a girl run naked through a garden during a winter's night. Ropes are stationed to trip her. A man throws a girl into near boiling water and does not let her out until he comes on her. A man has one girl stand on a column and makes her recite prayers while another girl frigs him. A girl is made to sit on a closed stool with glue on its seat. Upon sticking to it, a small burner is placed under her. She flees, leaving skin on the seat. On the 56th day, a man has a drunk girl's bed lifted into the air while she sleeps on it. Upon waking, she falls off onto a mattress, at which point the man fucks her. A man chases a naked girl through a garden with a driving whip. When she collapses from exhaustion, he fucks her. A man flogs a girl 100 times, kissing her buttocks each time. A man flogs a girl with a birch covered in unrefined alcohol and comes on her when she is covered in blood. On the 57th day, a man flogs little girls aged 5 to 7. A priest has a woman confess. As penance, he whips her 500 times. A man whips 4 women 600 times each. A man has 2 valets whip 20 women 600 times each while he frigs himself. A man sees 2 boys aged 14 through 16 at a time, flogs them 100 times each, then makes them come in his mouth. On the 58th day, a man has a whore enter a room. 2 of his men fall upon her and flog her buttocks until they bleed. She is tied up, and the man frigs the 2 others and himself. A woman is tied facing a wall. Before her is a blade affixed to the wall. She is flogged and must accept the flogging or cut herself. A man flogs a whore for 9 days, 100 lashes the first day, then doubled each day after that. A man has a whore get on all fours. He straddles her and flays her buttocks and pussy. A pregnant woman is bent backward over a cylinder. The John lashes her stomach until she bleeds, then comes on her face. On the 59th day, a man flogs a 15-year-old girl with holly and nettles until she bleeds. A man flogs 4 women with pistols until their asses are bruised. A man flogs a woman with the gun of 9 tails until she is bleeding. He then comes. A man lashes a pregnant woman and beats her violently across the belly. On the 60th day, a man ties a wax taper, which is a waxed wick for lighting candles, to a girl's fingers, lights it, and places a candle at a high point. She must leap to light the candle, all while being whipped. If she cannot light it, she is whipped more. A man flogs his wife and daughter and also has them flogged at a brothel. A man flogs a girl from the back of her neck to her calves until she is covered in blood. A man flogs the breasts of a woman, the larger the better. A man flogs pretty girls on the 61st day. A man flogs pretty girls on the face. A man flogs every part of a girl's body. A man flogs boys aged 18 through 20 200 times on their backs with a bullcock. A man has 4 whores flog him. When he is close to climax, he rushes to another room with a 5th whore, who he flogs with a pizzle until he comes. Fuck! Part the 3rd. The 150 Criminal Passions narrated by Madame Martaine. Throughout the month, I don't think I said this last time, throughout the month of January, the 31 days of January. The last month was the 31 days of December. Oh boy, alright. On the 62nd day, a man likes to be buggered by big cocks. A woman holds a 4-year-old Madame Martaine down while a man deflowers her ass, after which she falls violently ill. Martaine's mom sells Martaine's 7-year-old brother's virginity. A man forces 13-year-old Martaine and her 15-year-old brother to fuck while he fucks them alternatingly in the ass. A man has himself fucked as he buggers Martaine and her brother. See, now we're getting out of, consensual stuff and into really bad stuff. On the 63rd day, a man has 4 girls fart in his mouth while he buggers a 5th. The girls switch places. A man fucks 1 boy, frigs another, and is shat upon by a 3rd. The boys switch places. A man fucks Martaine in the mouth while her brother shits in his mouth. Then they switch. He is fucked the whole time. A man whips 15-year-olds before buggering them. A man molests a girl's ass for an hour, then buggers her while being whipped. On the 64th day, a man buggers people during Mass and comes during elevation. A man buggers a girl while they both step on a crucifix. A man has a girl shit. He wipes her ass, puts the host on the end of his cock, and buggers her. A man has himself buggered with the host while buggering a boy with the host. A 3rd host is laid upon this boy's back, on which a 3rd boy shits. A man buggers a priest during Mass. The priest performs consecration, shoves the host up his ass, and is buggered more. On the 65th day, a man buggers old women while being flogged. A man buggers old men while being fucked. A man has an affair with his son. A man only buggers black people or deformed people. A man buggers his married daughter with the host. On the 66th day, 2 men fuck and flog the John while he buggers a boy and an old man shits in his mouth. A man fucks the John in the mouth and another in the ass at the same time for 3 hours. Fuck me, God! A man has himself fucked by 10 men in a row. A man watches as he has his wife, daughter, and sister fucked. This next one is page 340, Passion 25. I wrote this down because it is rather interesting. I don't remember which one this is. He surrounds himself with 8 men, 1 in his mouth, 1 in his arse, 1 by his right groin, 1 by his left. He frigs another 2 with each hand. The 7th is between his thighs, and the 8th frigs himself over his face. That's why I wrote that down. Jesus Christ. I'm going to leave that open. Okay. On the 67th day, a John watches an old man get buggered. The prick is removed. The John sucks. It sucks the old man, eats his ass, then buggers him while he is buggered. A man buggers a 15-year-old girl while choking her. He is whipped by a pizzle throughout. A man has balls of mercury inserted into his ass. He then sucks cock and eats shit for 2 hours with them still inside. A man buggers a son and daughter while the father buggers him. On the 68th day, a man buggers a turkey while being buggered. When he comes, its throat is slit. A man fucks a goat, which gets pregnant by him. He fucks the freak baby. A man buggers billy goats. A man watches a woman get licked by a dog. When she comes, he shoots the dog. A man buggers a swan, shoves a host up its ass, and strangles it while he comes. On the 69th day, a man gets into a mare-shaped basket, puts his ass up to a hole, has himself buggered by the horse while he fucks a girl inside the basket. A man fucks a cow, gets it pregnant, and fucks the freak baby. The same man from the mare basket story places a woman in a similar basket for cows and watches as a bull fucks her. A man has a snake crawl into his asshole as he fucks a cat. What? I don't remember that one. You'd think I'd remember that one. I don't fucking remember that one. Oh my fucking god. Fuck. A man fucks a female donkey while being buggered by a male donkey. On the 70th day, a man fucks a goat's mouth, which licks his balls. The man's ass is flayed and his asshole is licked throughout. A man fucks a sheep while a dog licks his ass. A man fucks a dog and has its head cut off as he comes. A man has himself fucked while he watches a whore frig a donkey. A man fucks a monkey trapped in a basket while it is tortured. On the 71st day, a man finds girls guilty of crime, says he will protect them if he can flog them, and then violently flogs them. He does not protect them. A man finds a woman with nice hair under the pretense of simply looking at it. He cuts it off and comes when she gets upset. That's a fucking gigantic tone shift. A woman enters a dark room, is slapped by an unseen assailant, and is freed when the John has come. A young girl enters a sepulchre. The setting is made to frighten her, and she falls in a faint. The man emerges and buggers her, at which point she is helped out of the sepulchre. A girl is put into a casket, and the lid is nailed. The John comes as the hammer drives the nails in. On the 72nd day, a man buggers a corpse on a bed of black satin. A man eats out a girl corpse's ass while buggering that of a boy corpse. A man takes a girl to a closet full of waxwork corpses in different states of injury and tells her to choose one, and he will match her death to that of it. He doesn't actually. A man ties a girl to a corpse mouth to mouth and flogs her until she bleeds. On the 73rd day, a man shoves a girl into a tub of icy water. He comes. A man lowers a whore into a well, threatens to bury her, throws some soil on her, and comes on her head. A man threatens to flog a pregnant woman until she miscarries. A man throws a girl in a dungeon, convinces her that she is there for life, and frigs himself at her door. A man puts fireworks up a girl's ass which burn her. I guess they're like sparklers or something. I don't know. On the 74th day, a man ties a girl to a St. Andrew's cross, lifts her into the air, flogs her, then throws her out a window and onto a mattress. A man forces a girl to swallow a hallucinogenic. The hallucinations are violent, and she usually accidentally hurts herself. A man ties a girl up from a rope lifted high up the side of a tower. He stands above it, threatens to cut it, and comes. A man ties a girl up by her arms and legs above a raging fire. He cuts one of these ropes as he comes. A man ties a girl to a stool above which hangs by a hair a dagger pointed at her skull. After an hour, he bloodies her buttocks with the dagger and comes over them. On the 75th day, a man buggers a girl, firing a pistol next to her ears as he comes so as to burn her hair. A girl sits in a spring-loaded chair. Any of her movements will cause her to become impaled on a series of daggers. The John comes over her. A girl was dropped into a closet decorated hellishly. A man enters and whips her, then buggers her. A girl is brought into a room with a table on which sits 3 forms of death, one of which being poison. The girl is made to choose and often chooses the poison, which is an opiate that makes her very drowsy. In this state, the John buggers her. A man buggers a girl while she is strapped to a guillotine. Afterward, the guillotine is made to fall, and at the last second she is pulled out of the way by a rope system. On the 76th day, a mother is stood on a stool with a rope around her neck. The John and her daughter watch. The man pulls the rope so as to hang her, then leaves the room with the daughter. Unbeknownst to him and the daughter, the valets arrive to release the mother. The John buggers the daughter all night. A man leads a girl around a room by her ears until he comes. A man pitches a girl all over her body until she bruises. A man violently molests a girl's breasts until they are bruised. A man traces a girl's breasts with a poisoned needle so that her breasts swell up. A man covers a girl's breasts in pins, then comes on them. On the 77th day, a man covers a girl's body in pins, then comes. A man fills a girl's stomach, sews her urethra and asshole shut, and only relents when she faints or when the force of her need bursts her stitches. 4 men beat a girl to the floor, then frig each other and come on her. A girl's air is turned on and off while inside a pneumatic machine. On the 78th day, a man ties a girl to a table, eats a very hot omelet from her buttocks, and stabs her with the sharp fork while doing so. A man presses a girl's head to a small burner until she falls unconscious, then he buggers her. A man grills the skin off of a girl's breasts and buttocks with matches. A man extinguishes many candles on a girl's sensitive areas. A man burns off a girl's eyelashes with a match, which keeps her from sleeping, is what the book says. On the 79th day, a man forces a girl to swallow burning coal at gunpoint, then he plunges nitric acid into her pussy. A girl is forced to run on glass and rusty metal, being flogged as she does so. A man punches a girl in the nose until she bleeds. He comes and mixes his cum in her blood. A man pinches a girl's sensitive areas with heated iron tongs. A man sets fire to piles of gunpowder set out on a girl's sensitive areas. On the 80th day, a man shoves gunpowder into a girl's pussy, then lights it. A man covers a girl in unrefined alcohol, then sets her alight. A man gives a girl an enema of boiling water. A man whips a girl's pussy, then shoves a red-hot poker into her ass. A man flogs a pregnant woman, then tramples her until she miscarries. On the 81st day, a man has a girl frig him. Upon coming, he smashes her head into a wall. A girl is beaten all over by 4 friends with a rod. A man pricks a girl's eyes, clitoris, and nipples with a needle. A man drips sealing wax into a girl's asshole, pussy, and on her breasts. A man bleeds a girl from the arm until she faints. On the 82nd day, a man bleeds a girl from both arms and has her stand until she faints. A man bleeds a girl from all 4 limbs and her jugular. A man cuts a girl all over. A man cuts a girl all over, then cauterizes the wounds with a red-hot poker. A man dressed like a wild animal is beaten, then released upon a tied-up girl. He bites her violently, usually removing her nipples and clitoris before eating her shit. On the 83rd day, a man pulls a girl's teeth and scratches and burns her gums. A man breaks a girl's fingers. A man flattens a girl's foot with a hammer. A man dislocates a girl's wrist. A man beats out a girl's front teeth with a hammer as he comes. The 84th day, a man dislocates a girl's foot. A man breaks a girl's arm as he buggers her. A man breaks a girl's leg, then buggers her. A girl is tied to a ladder then made to fall, breaking a limb. On the 85th day, a man cuts off a girl's ear. A man splits a girl's tongue and nostrils. A man pierces a girl's tongue with a red-hot poker. A man tears out a girl's nails. A man cuts off a girl's fingertip. On the 86th day, a man drops boiling lead into a girl's mouth and burns her gums with nitric acid. A man cuts off the tip of a girl's tongue, then buggers her. A man bores out chunks of girl's flesh with a specially made machine. A man cuts off a young boy's testicles. A man removes a girl's nipples with pincers. On the 87th day, a man smashes a fragile glass bottle against a girl's face. A man assaults a girl with his sword. A man ties a girl up and breaks her limbs. A man grazes a girl's breasts with shot from a pistol. A man fires a flintlock into a girl's buttocks from 20 paces. On the 88th day, a man beats a woman across the belly until she miscarries. A man buggers and flogs a boy, then removes his testicles. A man cuts a virgin's clit off with a razor, then shoves a hot iron cylinder into her pussy and hammers it in. A man induces stillbirths in pregnant women. A man cuts off a girl's arm. On the 89th day, a man cuts off a girl's hand at the wrist, then cauterizes the wounds. A man cuts off a girl's tongue and cauterizes the wound. A man buggers a girl and cuts her leg off while doing so. A man fucks a woman in the mouth, pulls her teeth, and in their place hammers in red-hot nails. A man removes a girl's eye. On the 90th day, a man blinds a girl by pouring sealing wax into her eyes. Fuck. Oh my God. Jesus. God fucking mighty. Oh, fuck. A man slices a woman's breast off, cauterizes the wounds, cooks the meat, and eats the breasts. A man buggers and flogs a woman, cuts her buttocks off, then grills and eats these. A man slices both ears off of a girl. A man cuts off all of a woman's extremities. On the 91st day, a man cuts off a good bit of a girl's flesh, roasts it, and makes her eat with him. A man cuts off a boy's limbs, then buggers him over the course of a year until the boy dies. Damn. A man ties a girl down by her hand, leaving her hungry. There is a meal before her, and she must cut her hand off to reach the food, lest she starve. A man ties a mother and daughter together. For them to live, one must cut off her hand. On the 92nd day, a man blinds a girl and puts her in a room with food. To reach the food, she must traverse a red-hot sheet of iron that is kept heated. A girl's limbs are tied. She is lifted into the air, dropped, but stopped by the ropes before hitting the ground, effectively dislocating all of her limbs. A man makes a deep wound in a girl's flesh, then drips molten metal inside. A man ties up his wife and her baby right after she has given birth. She watches as the baby dies, and the man whips her pussy afterward. A man fills a girl's stomach with water, sews her pussy and ass up tight, and leaves her until she either dies or the water breaks through her passages. Which is not to be confused with the other one where the stitches break. I think this is more implying that like something perforates. I don't know. Okay. Part the 4th. The 150 Murderous Passions told over the 28 days of February by Madame Desgranges. All of these passions involve death. Fuck. Here we go. On the 93rd day, a man locks a woman in a dungeon and starves her to death, coming when she expires. A man reduces a woman's rations a little at a time until she expires. A man locks a woman in a dungeon until she starves. He then enters and frigs himself over the corpse. A man kills a woman by dehydration. A man kills a woman by preventing her from sleeping. On the 94th day, a man feeds a woman only breadcrumbs and wine until she dies. A man gives a woman a terrible sexually transmitted disease that kills her quickly. A man gives a woman a drink that gives her a fever and kills her. A man gives women poisonous enemas in boiling water or unrefined alcohol. A man puts a woman on a pivot which spins her violently until she dies. On the 95th day, a man twists girls' heads around so that they face backwards. A man watches as girls are fucked to death by a stallion. The next one is in the book, page 360, day 3, passion 13. He used to enjoy fucking arses, and now he buries a girl halfway up and feeds her until half of her body is rotten. Oh yeah. So I wrote that down because I don't fucking know what that means. Like, I know what that means, but I don't know how that works. I'm assuming it's like some scaphism stuff. Like, they talk about later, and they already talked about the honey and the flies. I'm assuming it means that he wants animals to crawl inside of her and rot her, like flies and maggots and rats and shit. I don't know. I don't care. Still on the 95th day, a man has a servant's frig a girl's clitoris until she dies. A man flogs a girl until she dies. On the 96th day, a man ties a tightrope around women's necks, then places food before them so that they must either strangle themselves or die of hunger. A man beats women on the breasts and buttocks until they die. A man bleeds women until they die. A man forces women into a room filled with scalding steam where they stay until they die. A man wraps women so tight and swaddling that they die. On the 97th day, a man sews a girl up in a donkey's skin and leaves her until she suffocates. A man hangs a girl upside down until she dies. A man forces water into a woman through a funnel until she dies. A man forces a woman's breast between hot iron pots, then leaves her over burners until she dies. A man throws women into a pool, pulls them out, resuscitates them, and then repeats this until they die. On the 98th day, a man leaves a woman between two fires until she dies. A man suffocates a woman between two mattresses. Or actually, it's 4 mattresses, sorry. A man buggers women and blows their brains out when he comes. A man throws a girl off of a tower. A man buggers a girl and strangles her with a cord as he comes. On the 99th day, a man kills a woman with opioids and fucks her while she ODs. A man hangs a stone around a woman's neck and throws her into water to drown. A man drips molten lead into a girl's ear while she sleeps. A man kills a girl with a blow to the head from a hammer. A man attaches a girl to a conducting rod and has her struck by lightning. A man has a girl shot up the ass by a cannon. On the 100th day, a man breaks a woman on the wheel and chokes her. A man cuts women's throats as he comes. A man condemns victims to a dungeon. A man drops a weight on a pregnant woman that kills her and her baby. A man sticks needles into a girl's neck to kill her. A man throws a girl into a furnace. On the 101st day, a man stabs a girl in the heart as he comes. A man attaches a girl to a large rocket. She falls back to Earth with it. I don't know how that works at this point in time. A man puts gunpowder in a woman's every orifice and lights it. A man kills a woman with poisonous powder. A man strikes a girl's neck with a rod, killing her. A man chases a woman down a set of stairs where a missing step drops her into a bath of boiling water. On the 102nd day, a man poisons all his wives and is currently on his 22nd. A man poisons some of his friends. A man gives poisoned food to the poor. A man throws a drug on the ground which kills people when they walk over it. A man poisons people with a powder that gives them fits and kills them. A man poisons people so as to make them appear dead, then stands over their graves as they actually die on some like voodoo zombie shit. On the 103rd day, a man poisons his friend's most cherished people. A man poisons children on the very breast of their wet nurse. I'm assuming that means he rubs powder on the nipple and then has them die while drinking. I don't know. A man gives people poison enemas. A man sets fire to poorhouses. A man poisons women giving birth so that they die in the process. A man kills a baby as it emerges from a woman during childbirth. On the 104th day, a group of friends cut out a pregnant woman's baby, burn it to death, then sew her up and watch her die while being frigged. A man has many children by many women, fucking them when they turn 5 or 6 and throwing them immediately into an oven. A man frames his servants for theft and has them hanged. A man has women thrown into a shit pit to die. A man forces a girl who cannot swim into a pool to swim for her freedom. She often drowns, and if she does not, is burned alive. A man has a machine spring-loaded so that as he comes while buggering a girl, the machine will release and saw into her neck. After these passions, the friends discover an affair between one of the unnamed subaltern fuckers and one of the girls, Augustine, who happens to be the Duke's wife at this point. The fucker has offered to help Augustine escape if she will let him fuck her. Fucker. The friends attack the fucker, drag him into a crypt in the basement, rape him, torture him. I'm assuming this is the same crypt that's under the chapel. And kill him. Augustine is forced to watch, is made to think she is going to die, is buggered, and has 2 of her teeth pulled. On the 105th day, a man kills the girls either by drowning after a trick boat splits in half or by having them fall off of a balcony. A man has a girl fall into a crypt where he waits. He stabs her in the breast, pussy, and asshole, throws her into a second crypt where she then dies on a pile of those who came before her. A man puts a girl on an unbroken horse, which drags her along until she dies. A man has a girl lay upon a trick bed which collapses into a fire. When she attempts to escape, he beats her back. A man lures the poor to his house, buggers them, breaks their backs, and leaves them in a dungeon to starve. A man finds a girl who sleeps with a window in her room close to the ground. She is drugged and taken to a new room. The man barges in threatening to kill her, and the girl goes to a window to escape, jumping through and dying 30 feet below. On the 106th day, a man removes a small piece of flesh from a girl each day until she dies. A man drains half an ounce of blood each day from a girl until she dies. A man stabs a girl shallowly each day until she dies. A man saws off all of a girl's limbs very slowly. A man gives young girls to a very large man who holds them by the head over a fire until they die. A man burns a girl to death by pricking her body all over with fuses. On the 107th day, a man has a girl swallow molten lead each day until she dies. A man breaks a girl's limbs, removes her tongue, and gouges out her eyes before slowly starving her to death. A man ties a young boy to a high cross and leaves him to the birds. A man ties a girl up and pricks her each day to draw flies, leaving her to die. A man injures a girl, then leaves her in a crypt with some food to die. A man cuts out a girl's heart, quickly fucks it, then sews it back inside and leaves her to die. On the 108th day, a man hollows out the bone marrow on a person, it is unclear how the fuck he does this, and fills it with molten lead. A man cuts a girl into small pieces. A man puts a stake up a girl's pussy, mounts her on it like a horse, and weighs her feet down so that she is slowly killed on it. This is an actual torture that was used frequently in medieval times. A man flays a girl, then coats her in acid. A man strips flesh slowly from a girl by pinching it with red-hot pincers and cutting it off with scissors. On the 109th day, a man cuts off a girl's breasts and buttocks, forces her to dine with him, then burns her wounds so badly that she dies. A man boils a little girl in a pot. A man buggers a little girl, then has her roasted on a spit. A man impales a girl through the asshole and leaves her to die. A man ties a woman to a wheel and leaves her to die. On the 110th day, a man has a girl quartered by tying her to 4 young trees. I guess it's implied that she's kept there and is slowly torn apart by them. A man burns a girl to death slowly. A man covers a girl in sulfur and sets her on fire. A man takes out the intestines of both the girl and the boy, switches their intestines, sews them up, and watches them die. A man roasts his victims on a grill while still alive. On the 111th day, this first one I wrote down, page 379. Pardon? We sure about that? I don't think we're sure about that. That would be 377. That would be 376. Oh, yeah, because this one doesn't make any sense either. A bugger, he places the woman's rump on a stake with a diamond-shaped tip, her 4 limbs suspended in the air by string alone. The effect of this pain is to provoke laughter. The torture is dreadful. Don't know how that works. I am not one to say. So on the 111th day, a man has a girl sawn in half. A man forces a brother, at fear of death, to fuck and strangle his sister while the man buggers them both. When the brother is done, a trapdoor opens and they are thrown into a fire. A man tortures a daughter in front of the father until she is dead, then strangles the father. A man forces, at threat of her mother's death, a daughter to have her hands removed. The mother and daughter are separated, the daughter is strung up to be hanged by the pull of a cord, and the mother in an adjoining room is made to pull the cord, not knowing what she is doing. She is then shown to work and is killed by a saber. On the 112th day, a man has mothers and sons brought to him. He tells the mother that she can only live if she kills her son. If she does, she is tied to the corpse and left to die. If she does not, his throat is cut in front of her. A man forces 2 sisters by use of a machine to stab each other slowly. A man forces a woman and her 4 children into a room, then watches as they slowly starve, and as the mother resorts to eating her own children. A man has a pregnant mother and pregnant daughter slammed between 2 mechanical plates so hard that they turn into powder. A man forces a young lover to kill his mistress. He is then shot. On the 113th day, a man shoves a gun loaded with shot up the ass of a boy and fires as the man comes. A man forces a man to watch as his mistress is carved up. The man is forced to eat her or die of hunger. He is then killed. A man removes a boy's balls, force feeds them to him, then replaces them with balls of sulfur and mercury, which eventually kill him. A man nails a boy to a stake by his asshole. A man buggers a boy, during which he opens the boy's skull and pours molten metal inside. On the 114th, a man ties an injured boy to a wheel and leaves him to die. A man skins a boy, covers him in honey, and leaves him to the flies. A man nails a boy's hand and foot to 2 stakes, cuts off his cock and nipples, and leaves him to die. A man has a boy eaten by a lion. A man gives a boy to a horse, which buggers him to death. On the 115th day, a man places a boy into a machine that slowly breaks his bones to powder. A man has a boy frigged until he is spent. He leaves the boy to die of hunger. A man performs a series of botched procedures on a boy and leaves him to die. A man cuts off a boy's cock and balls, forms a hole by way of a red-hot poker, and fucks him in it and strangles him. A man rubs unrefined alcohol onto a boy and lights it over and over until he dies. On the 116th day, a man buggers a father between his 2 children and kills both as he comes. A man gathers 6 pregnant women and kills them and their babies in a number of ways. A man blows the brains out of 2 girls. A man has the floor to a ballroom trapped so that when it is filled, it will collapse and kill all on it. A man ties 3 pregnant women in painful poses, makes them give birth, and ties their babies near them until they all die or the babies are eaten by the mothers. A man would blindfold 2 pregnant women, have them give birth, switch the babies, and make them identify the baby that is theirs. If they succeed, they are fine. If they do not, they die. On the 117th day, a man nails a lover to his mistress and leaves them to die this way. A man cuts off a limb each from a group of girls and throws them into a pool to drown, beating them back if they try to escape. A man spreads the plague across whole provinces. A man puts 3 pregnant women and 3 of their children into a metal cage, lights a fire under it, and watches them hop and skip until they die. A man shoves a pregnant girl into a barrel filled with spikes and rolls her about it until she dies. On the 118th day, a man has a number of children thrown from a tower onto spikes. A man ties pregnant women to flammable materials, lights it, and beats them back. They then fall through the floor into boiling oil. A man gathers a family over a landmine and watches it go off. A man has himself buggered by his sons, rapes his daughter, and kills his niece. A man buggers his mother, kills her, then kills and fucks the daughter. On the 119th day, a man binds women into the shape of a ball and fires them from a mortar. A man has two pregnant women fight. If they do not kill each other, he does it himself. A man ties a pregnant woman to a wheel, under which is her mother. The girl dies and drips decomp onto her mother. A man fucks a girl against a panel of spikes, then puts a second panel against her and screws them together until she dies. A man nails a pregnant woman to a table with red-hot nails and pokers. On the 120th day, a man ties two women together and watches them eat each other when they start to starve. A man presses 6 pregnant women together with an iron ring that tightens them together until they die. A man ties 2 pregnant women to a machine that crashes them into each other with such force that they die. A man ties or skewers 3 women up, one by the breasts, one by the tongue, and one by the hair. Each has some sort of danger beneath them, either a long fall, a fire, or a spike, so that when their body gives way, they fall and die. A man tortures 15 young girls to death with agonies such that I will not describe because I am too fucking lazy. This is the end. Before the story began, there were 46 people inside of Silling. This included the 4 friends, the 4 wives, the 4 storytellers, the 4 old women, 3 cooks and 3 maids, 8 fuckers, 8 young girls, and 8 young boys. Of these, only the 4 friends, the storytellers, Julie of the wives, because she became very libertine over the course of the book, and the 3 cooks, and the 3 named fuckers leave back to Paris. The rest have been tortured horrifically and killed. And that is it. That's the end. Holy fuck. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this. I don't know why anyone would like this. If you were interested by this. If your mind is as numb as mine. I'll be reviewing normal books next again. Doing normal reviews. I just needed to do this. Kind of for myself. I need to share the misery. Don't read this book. It's not worth it. I've just told you everything that you need to know. You now know everything you need to know. It's all done. It's all done. You're good now. I would like to formally thank the translators of the Penguin Classics version. This copy will be in the description. The one Will McMorran and Thomas Wynn, or Ween, however you pronounce that. They did a bang-up job translating and noting and doing it forward. It was very helpful, very informative. Oh my god, do not read this book. See ya.